Thank you for joining us for the June 6th East Aurora Village Board meeting. If you could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I get a roll call attendance, please, Maureen?
Trustee Lizikis.
Here.
Trustee Cameron.
Here.
Trustee Vijay.
Here.
Trustee Flynn.
Here.
Trustee Kimmelhart. Trustee Shear.
Here.
Mayor Mercurio.
Present.
7 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the village board meeting for May 16, 2022?
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
I'll second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve the payment of abstract for 5/29/22 for voucher numbers 622-628 to 662-342 for a total of $74,302.61.
So moved.
Moved by Steve.
Second.
Second by Ernie. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve the payment of abstract for 6/6/22 for vouchers number 662-333 to 662-343 for a total of $338,148.59.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. All right, this is our first speakers and communications. There will be 2 tonight, 1 now and 1 at the end. If you're here for a public hearing, I'd ask that you reserve your comments for the public hearing. You'll get a chance to talk about those specific issues at the time that we open them. Otherwise, if you have a general comment, please raise your hand. When called on, come up to the mic, give us your name and address, and let us know what your thoughts are. Anyone? Thank you. Moving on to our first public hearing. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider a special use permit application to establish an accessory dwelling unit at 402 South Street at 7:02 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The public hearing is now open. Is the applicant here to speak on it? Anyone from the public like to speak on it? Liz, would you like to speak on?
Oh, I was just gonna say that they are not here this evening. But basically what they're doing is they're gonna remove an existing one-ish car garage, replace that with a 2-car garage with the living space above for a family member. They had a zoning variance for the mean height, and that's what their application is all about. So they've been before the zoning board. No one came in to speak against it at that point in time. They've been before planning. It was a unanimous approval, and their recommended unanimous approval.
Okay. The public was notified that
For
this
the
public
zoning
hearing was
hearing.
going on and nobody's
Yep.
here to speak against it.
Correct.
And they got the variance.
They did get the variance. Yep.
So our choices are, we could close the public hearing and move on with it as an issue despite the applicant not being here, or we could leave it open and continue the public hearing at the next meeting and then vote on stuff after that.
Or we can just vote now, right?
Well,
Yeah.
they've asked for the decision to be tabled at this point in time due to increasing.
Oh, I'm
costs.
sorry. I thought that was the other one. Okay, right.
So they asked for it to be
For the decision to be tabled.
the decision to be tabled.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I think we maybe leave the public hearing open.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to public hearing 3B. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider a special use permit application to establish an accessory dwelling unit at 144 Sycamore Street at 7:05 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Marcia. Second,
I'll second.
second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now open. Is the applicant here for this one? Hi, come on up. Come on up. So you give us your name and address and tell us a little bit about it, please.
I'm Yvette Jaworski at 144 Sycamore Street.
Did you put the mic down or up?
Oh, do
Thank you.
you want me to repeat it? Okay.
Just for the legal record.
Okay, I'm Yvette Jaworski and this is my husband Guy Jaworski. We live at 144 Sycamore Street. And we want to put an apartment above our garage for our daughter because I have health issues and that way she can be close by to help.
And it's an existing
It's an existing
building,
two-story.
and you're gonna just make it into a one-bedroom unit, correct?
Correct.
Anybody have any questions for the applicants while they're here?
This one also received variance approval.
This one did not because it's an existing building. The other one is a new building.
But this one had two neighbors write in and say they were in support of it, nobody writing in against it. And the planning commission. Unanimous
Mhm.
approval. All right. Anybody have any questions? Anybody on the board have any questions for them?
Nope.
Thanks,
Nope.
Yvette and
All
Guy.
right, thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
All right, anybody from the public want to speak on this? All right. All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:06 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Ernie, second. Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That public hearing is closed. Moving on to 3C, can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider a local law to amend Village Code sections 285-20.1 and 20.2, adding dimensional requirements for accessory dwelling units at 7:07 PM.
Oh, someone saying.
Marcia, second?
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is open. Who's going to speak on this?
This is a team effort for me and Liz. As we just discussed, one of the new ADUs did require a variance and one did not. Many of them in the future would require a variance if we did not add these appropriate dimensional requirements to our charts. So working with Chris and Liz, we revised the charts. You have that in your approval of what we're looking at for 20 feet for the maximum height, correct, is what we're talking about? So ideally, in the future, every single one of these applications, or many of them, would not require variance because it really would not be necessary. It'd be kind of onerous on the public. So this is to add these dimensional requirements to your code.
And that was based upon some corroborating information from other municipalities and architects who have worked in other municipalities with these type of structures for a new building. That'll give them a first floor garage if necessary and a second floor living space. And then if they need an area variance beyond that 20-foot mean height, then they could always request that first.
All right, does anyone from the public have any comment on this issue? Does the board want to ask Liz or Kathy anything about it now while we have it open?
I'm glad we're making these changes and making it easier for people to, especially older, we have an older population, so that they can do things like the Jaworskis are doing with their daughter moving in. It makes it possible for people to stay in the village, you know, especially seniors. And I think anything to make it easier for people to stay here. I'm all for it.
All right.
I'm 20 feet, that's the mean again, right? So, right, I'm just trying to think, are there gonna be built a lot of those garages behind places that are gonna be above that,
Well, existing is a non-conforming structure,
right?
so we haven't required variances for those existing buildings.
Right. So just being new build,
And then, and like the Jaworskis, yeah,
Right.
just for new construction would apply to this.
right?
What if they were modifying like a garage and raising it up a little?
Well,
Same-
if it's
that's
a- if
considered
it's a
new?
One-story garage, I'm sorry. Okay. If it's a one-story building and they're gonna raise it, then they have to either meet the height or they need to get a variance.
Gotcha.
But if it's an existing building that's already there, that they're gonna convert, we're gonna let that go as is.
So that would cover me with my carriage house in the back with the second floor loft,
Right,
that I would be able to keep the 2-car garage, but then have the loft upstairs become,
right, which is very similar to the Jaworski's. It's also similar to the one on South Brook Street that you approved a few months ago as well.
All right.
Barn.
So they'll be over 20, but it's because they're non-conforming already that
Right,
they're
they're
okay.
existing.
Right,
The conversion of an existing structure.
yeah. Seems reasonable to me. Mhm.
All right. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:11 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing 3C is closed. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider a local law to amend Village Code Section 180-3, increasing fees charged to mobile food vendors found operating without a permit? That'd be at 7:11 PM.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. That public hearing is now open. Kathy?
So we have been trying to update our code to encourage people to do the right thing in the first place and apply for the proper permits. You actually just did something similar with your temporary use permits. If someone does not get a temporary use permit and holds an event in any event, they need to, in any way, then they need to get a permit after the fact and they're charged double. This is the same thing. So we want the mobile food vendors to come in advance and get the proper permits and begin to operate, and not that they would just pull into town and set up and then, ask for forgiveness later. So this does include that they would have to pay twice the normal permit fee, or twice or 1.5, whatever we have in our. I'm sorry, 1.5, my bad, because it's a pretty good fee to begin with. If they come in and then they are required to get their permit after the fact.
Thanks. And the reason they're getting these permits that we're doing this is for safety, correct?
Yes,
Principally.
yes, the one main thing that we always want to have happen is would be Liz's department again. The ones that do cooking and what have you inside the trucks, they have propane operating, and it could be potentially hazardous if it's not properly hooked up. So an fire inspection is done. That obviously is time and effort. So with all of that, that's a very important inspection that we want to do prior to them operating in the village.
And then like an ice cream truck that doesn't have propane, it doesn't actually heat food. They don't need.
They get a peddler
They get a
solicitor
different
peddler's
permit.
license, right?
Yep.
They what, Maureen?
They get a peddler solicitor permit.
How much is that, do you know?
75
75.
for 3
And the food
months.
truck permit is 450. And
For
if
a
the
year.
resident lives in the village
350.
or has a business in the village, it's 350.
Mhm.
All right. So they'd pay $625 if they get caught with that one, right?
Correct.
450 and 225.
525.
675.
525.
All right. Anybody from the public want to speak on this issue? All right. Does the board have any questions for Kathy and Maureen on this while we're talking about it?
Mm-mm.
All right. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:14 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing 3D is closed. Let's see. All right, since they're asking us to hold, I'm assuming. Does anybody want to make a motion on 4A, or are we going to skip it and keep it with the table public hearing?
I think we even can with the public hearing still open.
Not vote on it? Yeah, probably not. I don't want to talk for anybody, though. I'm not like that. 4B, can I get a motion to approve a special use permit application to establish an accessory dwelling unit at 144 Sycamore Street?
so moved.
Moved by Ernie, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved. 4C, can I get a motion to approve new hires for the Department of Public Works? I, Christopher Finney, with a hire date on or after June 7, 2022, and a starting rate of $17.72 an hour. And 2, Shane Gorky with a hire date on or after June 13th, 2022, and a starting rate of $17.72.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
Second by Kristen. Further discussion? Matt, you wanna, are they here? Do you want to weigh in on it?
They are not here, but they will be filling the 2 final open positions we have at the Public Works.
Fantastic. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve a site plan for Mud, Sweat and Gears at 669 Main Street to construct a 2-story commercial addition.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
I'll second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? Now, this is the one where we were concerned about the view of the back building from across Main Street. And they submitted the diagrams with the little dotted line from the person's head to the end of the building. And it looks like it's going to be insignificant. Right?
Mhm.
Anybody have any other comments? Everybody's good with the diagram they sent us?
Really appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
Helps.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations. I get a motion to approve the demolition permit for 203 Main Street by Facelift Properties LLC.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
Second by Ernie. Further discussion? You guys want to give us the latest and greatest, please?
Michael Anderson with Epstein. Thanks, I love you. Thanks, Mark. Michael Anderson, Abstract Architecture, 313 Broadway, Buffalo, New York, with Katie Crook. Obviously, you're aware we've made an exhaustive effort to try and relocate this. I hated to put all our eggs in one basket, but the couple that we were dealing with decided that the cost of relocating it was probably better spent on new construction. We, as this process unfolds, obviously we're here tonight asking for the option to demolish this building. It is not our first option. We're not going to stop trying to relocate it or save it. But my client does need to know how she's going to move forward with her proposal for the development of 203 Main Street. So that's where we're at right now. It's not where we want it to be, but it's not for lack of effort in trying to relocate the structure as is.
Thanks, Michael. Katie, anybody have any comments or questions for the applicants?
Do you have any plans for what you might want to do, or what are your thoughts?
We do have plans.
Yeah. So we have. I'm gonna take it off the stand again.
A 9-story Walmart.
No, so nothing. So when we first paired towards you, we'd mentioned that it's a 2-story structure, 2,500 square foot footprint, so 5,000 square foot total. A commercial space in the front, and a smaller commercial semi-office space that would be accessed directly off the back parking lot. So 2 commercial spaces on the first floor. As you're aware, Katie is running the business out of the building right now. That's why it's not working for her. So their organization is going to take a commercial space on the second floor. And then there will be a third rental space for a tenant on the second floor, sorry.
Third floor.
Yeah, no, just the 2 floors. Sorry. All the numbers were confusing to me too, Steve.
All right, I mean, thank you guys. My thought is, like, I like the idea that it's this cool little historic building on Main Street, but the building itself doesn't have a lot of historic architecture to it. And it wasn't even in that original position, that original place. It got moved there in, I think, the 30s. I think that's what the HPC said.
I think about the only thing, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, I drive by and I like looking at it. But if I owned it, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to have to try to figure out how to put a business in this little building. You know what I mean? It's easy to look at it and say, oh, that's nice. I like it. But it's a lot harder to try and use that space. So I get it.
I think about the only thing it has going for itself is a really good story. You know, I mean, it's a neat story, and I don't know how the guy lived in there and ran a pharmacy out of that little building. I don't know what he was selling in there. It was like, you know, I mean, it's not, I agree, it's not, you know, it's, you know, you did your best trying to find somebody.
And we're not going to give up. If the final end result of this building is demolition, we're going to look at other options that maybe are more deconstruction. Because it seems that the biggest hesitation is the actual moving of the building. So we're not giving up, but we do need to, for Katie's sake, I do need us to be able to at least move forward in some manner.
I don't remember what the facade, the drawings you gave us. What was your?
This is the preliminaries where we had started on.
Mhm.
My husband had a business in there for a number of years, so I'm very familiar
Does
with
anyone
it.
want to see it?
I would say that, you're saying that there is some historic significance to it, but it's not in the best shape. But if there was a way, if you end up having to demolish it, I hope maybe you could repurpose maybe some of the lumber, or if there's something in there, I don't know what, that would be salvageable, just to kind of keep that.
That's exactly the deconstruction process. There's a number of organizations within the Western York area that will come in and take out the elements that can be reused. Much like your old antique barns, the building can have a life beyond this. They can be deconstructed and reused. Like I said, it's quite possible. We're not going to give up. It's quite possible it could be rebuilt as is somewhere else. But we just don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, in general, Marshall, that's
I thank you I think you guys have really in good faith made good faith efforts to really treat this building, well and try to solve this issue. And so I think that's great.
Thank you.
And not just knock it down, I mean.
Right.
Yeah, I think you've done all we've asked of you.
No, that design set in stone, or that's.
No, that's just our preliminary. That's where we're starting.
Yeah.
It looks like most of the buildings down there.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
that's kind of a mishmash down. There's a variety of different looks there, right? I mean,
Look, we have a CMU block building to compete with. We can do better.
Yeah, right.
All right, anything else for the applicants? All right, thank
So
you, guys.
if we, just to understand the process here, so if we approve demolition, then that can occur at any time, or what sort of time? Is there an expiration date on this?
There is when they pull their permit, but your approval on the demolition stands. So they could,
Ongoing.
yeah. Mhm.
So our project timeline, should you decide to vote to approve the demolition, we're going to start into the actual construction document phase. And then those documents obviously would have to go to Liz for approval. All things going well, our hope is to start construction in the spring, and demolition would not happen until then.
All right, thank you. All right, all those in favor of approving the demolition permit?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for the use of Hamlin Park by the Aurora Town Rec Department Ultimate Frisbee Program, Wednesdays and Sundays from July 16 through August 14.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second by, who was it?
Do we both go? I think we both.
Grace? Further discussion? I reached out to Megan Ten at the rec department. She checked to make sure there'd be no conflicts with the Little Loop football schedule. As I know they're planning on using the same field. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? You get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for the East Aurora Veterinary Hospital at 589 Main Street for an open house and fundraising event on July 16th.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
By Steve, further discussion. would the applicant like to just give us a quick high level? You don't have to, Dr. Jenny, but why wouldn't you?
Where would we? So my husband and I, Dr. Jim and Jenny Tudini are here tonight. This is actually the 100th year that East Aurora Veterinary Hospital has been in operation, providing veterinary care to East Aurora, which is pretty amazing. We're very proud to be able to keep that going. And so we're wanting to celebrate that with an event on July 16th, which will be an open house to the public as well as our clients to essentially showcase the renovation work that we've been doing inside the building to date. That is ongoing, to have a basket raffle as a fundraiser for our in-house pet emergency fund, which we have available for clients that might have unexpected medical or surgical needs for a pet that would not otherwise be able to go forward without the help and aid from the emergency fund. And we plan on having a couple of local rescue organizations there with some adoptable pets that are adoptable animals that we can hopefully find new homes for, and potentially some other animal related vendors. And there we hope to have a food truck outside the front of the building, again, to try to bring people in and highlight the event. And we have spoken with the co-op next door from our understanding from speaking with Liz Cassidy that we would need to have their permission based on the fact that it's a food truck operating in close association to a food vendor or market, whatever. And we spoke with them, we spoke with the manager, and they were in support of that for this event. It is something that we would like it to become an annual event that hopefully the local community can look forward to. We have Molly and me, actually, she's a local photographer that some people may be familiar with. She will be also there in attendance and doing a pop-up photo shoot for people to have pets and their pictures taken. And again, she'll be donating some of her proceeds to the emergency fund also.
Sounds like a great project.
Mhm.
An open house and fundraiser all in one. Nice, nice.
All in one.
Anybody have any questions for the applicants? No. Maureen, do you have a question for the applicant?
Just make sure your food truck has a food truck permit. You can call our office to see who has permits. And you have to get that permission in writing from the other business. Yes, and submit that with at my office so that we have it on file.
Yeah, for the food truck, but not for this.
From what I understand, as far as the food trucks goes, that we have Lloyd's, I think Smash Brothers. or
Lloyd's
something.
does not, Burger
Oh,
Brothers or
Lloyd's is
something.
not anymore?
No.
Okay.
Main Bites.
Main Bites. The burger, yeah. And then I understand that Mister's is mid-application, or has that been approved? No, they have not. Oh, okay. So it looks like it's gonna be Main Bites then.
But if you call our office, we'll look for all of them because there are more.
That's fine. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're not pushing main boys, but.
Someone's got shares of Main Bites.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Can I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for the Hamlin Park for Revive Wesleyan applicant Kevin Beers, Church in the Park Sundays in August from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
By Steve. Further discussion. I asked Maureen to check. Well, first of all, I already talked to you guys. Kevin's not here, correct? Okay. Do you guys want to get up and just tell us about it? If you're okay with that, yeah, I didn't know if you were prepared for that kind of thing.
Hello, my name is Marguerite Gibson, and this is my husband, Bob Gibson, and we're members. We go to the church there at Revive Wesleyan, and Kevin is part of the East Aurora Little League, so he's got games on Monday. So he asked if we could come on his behalf.
Perfect.
So in regard to the time frame, even though it says 8 to 1, that's to kind of set up chairs or equipment, things like that. The service itself is only an hour long and it would be say from 10:30 to 11:30, but there's setup and tear down time built into it.
All right. Which brings us to my concern. I asked Maureen to pull the previous Church in the Park permits. When they first came, I think it was 8 AM. And then some neighbors came and said, hey, we don't want to wake up at 8 AM to a band warming up on a Sunday morning near our house, which we get, but we also don't want to take away your ability to amplify voices and music, which is hard if you get a couple hundred people there. Even in the bowl, it's hard if you don't have amplification. So I believe we moved, you said, Maureen, you pulled it and it was 9:30, 10 o'clock. And that's what the previous permits we were using was, but I don't know exactly what time the service started either.
Okay.
So your
Okay,
service
but-
is gonna start at 10:30, you're thinking?
Yes.
So do you think you can follow suit and do 10? They can get the warm-ups and everything worked out by then, or?
Yes, Kevin,
I like that.
I know we went through this
Yes.
over the years, and so we've all gone through it, you guys maybe not, but.
We certainly want to just comply and serve the community
Mhm.
and whatever you guys think is best. And if they have to get their voices and sound checks done after 10, before 10:30 beginning, that'll be just fine.
You think that'll work?
Right, like if they need to do that at church and then come over, things like that. So,
Wow.
yeah, Kevin did want to make sure, just like Bob said, hey, we're here for the community. We don't want to cause a problem. We want to be for the community. So we would just want to understand what the standards or the requirements are, and then we want to abide by them.
Mhm. So.
When I saw 8 AM and I saw 5 hours.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to hear amplification at 8 in the morning, I'll tell you. So, okay, that's great if you can be flexible.
Yeah, perfect. If it works for you and it works for the neighbors and everybody wins, right? All right, so anybody have any other questions for?
As long as we
For
don't
the
get
Gibsons?
toll calls, but I think a lot of those neighbors may no longer be in the neighborhood, the ones that were complaining about the sound. I think some of those people may have.
Yeah, I don't know. But
moved
once
on,
it,
but-
yeah. And once it got later, I think that kind of took care of the issue.
But
Well,
I
they really, I
think they got it taken care of though. They straightened it out as, once it took a while, but we didn't really get any complaints the last few years of the previous entity ran it.
It all,
Wasn't too bad.
it all came to a head that time with the rock band.
That's
And I
exactly.
think
Yeah.
everything really turned around after that
Yeah.
little.
Well, the pastor was out
issue.
of town. And
Yeah.
the inmates were running the asylum and the guys got to turn it up as much as they wanted. So
Thank you. That's helpful insight.
Yeah, as long
But
as
it's
the
all been
sound is
fine ever
kept down,
since,
it's just to
so.
be a consideration for the neighbors. And that's really the main thing.
So do you want to amend your motion to include a 10 AM start for the
Yes, please.
amplified,
Yes.
anything,
Yeah.
amplification?
Amplification, well, I guess, so starting time of, do you need to be setting up at 8 o'clock? Or 10:30 or?
That's that would be the best if we
Okay,
can.
so it's still an 8 o'clock start, but at 10 AM.
For-
early.
Sound, amp,
Yeah,
yes,
amplification. No,
Sound
That
not-
should be
not
fine.
before 10 AM.
perfect.
And then driving, I don't drive, be careful, don't be driving on the grass either.
Okay.
They're across the trees.
Oh,
Um,
right.
Yeah, there's a gravel entrance on
Yeah,
Grove.
right.
Bring the vehicles in that way.
Yeah, be
Stay on
careful
the
not
gravel.
to drive
Please.
around on the lawn.
Okay,
The
okay.
tree board came out one time about that too. You're right. Good memory, Ernie.
Mhm.
That's all helpful. So
Yeah.
Any input. You guys probably know that Kevin's dad started this many years ago. He was the pastor there.
Like 40 years ago,
40
right?
years
ago,
That's neat. That's really neat.
It is.
It's got some history, yeah.
Right. Steve, are you seconding the amended motion?
9:59 or was it 10? I'm good for 10.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
You're all invited.
Thank you, yeah.
All right. I get a motion to approve a neg deck under seeker for amending village code sections 285-20.1 and 20.2, adding dimensional requirements for accessory dwelling units.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Ernie. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve amending the village code section 285-20.1 and 20.2, adding dimensional requirements for accessory dwelling units.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve a neg deck under seeker for amending village code section 180-3, increase fees charged to mobile food vendors found operating without a permit.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve amending village code section 180-3, increase fees charged to mobile food vendors found operating without a permit.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Marcia. Further discussion? We got Music Fest this weekend, so hopefully everybody who needs a permit got a permit or is gonna get one in the next day or two.
Who
Avoid the-
polices that?
avoid the fees. What's that?
Who polices that?
Wow.
Does he have a list of
Are you
who?
volunteering?
No, I just want, curious.
Don't they have to have it like
Do they have
in their
a
window or something? Isn't it
permit?
Where they have to have like some kind of a,
They have to have it on them.
yeah.
In the vehicle that has that permit. It has to be there. I did have a conversation with Sue Freeze about the trucks that they had planned to have over at the rink and the fact that they all needed permits. And then she also visited the village clerk to discuss that as well.
She did. I told them they needed permits unless you guys change that, they do. They're planning on having a pizza truck and that person did come in for a permit. They were planning to have an ice cream vendor that does not have any propane or anything like that. That person also got a permit. There was a person on the application that has not come for a permit, but I don't know where that location is on the main application for Music Fest. And we do have other vendors that have them. So if they want somebody who has a permit and somebody they didn't want, they can call another company to come do it if that's available to them.
Do they need a permit if they're on private property?
Yes.
Okay.
And a couple of things, they're selling to the public. They're
Right.
not,
Mhm.
it's not like a private party, even though the way the law is right now, you'd need that permit regardless.
Mhm.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Let's see. So our choices are to award the auction sale amounts from Auctions International as listed on the sheet, or someone could offer to make a resolution to make counter offers on the following bids as notated on your bid sheet.
I'll make a motion that the village makes a counter offer to the bids we received.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? Maureen or Shane, you want to just tell us what's going on?
Yeah, they came in much lower than I expected. I was, the minimum I was thinking after doing some research was, 13 each for the two patrol vehicles and then 18 for my old vehicle for minimums. If they don't accept it, which they may, they might think they just snuck out a deal. And if we counter, we can do a couple different things. The mechanics are in contact with the Lacey to see what they would give us on trade-ins with them as an option. And Maureen just found another auction place that advertises that they do much better than the one we're using and others for government surplus. So we could try them also for them. So.
All right. So we got it moved by Marcia, seconded by Steve. Any other discussion from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, counter offers have been approved. No new business. Second, speakers and communications. Is anybody at all? You, sir?
All right, good afternoon. For those who don't know me, I'm William Bateman. I am here to originally, as my counterpart is not here at the moment, Luke Wachensky. We are in the process of making a No Ride July event throughout the month of July, which will promote those who are in the village at the moment to promote the use of biking around in July instead of using your car for the purpose of environmental conservation, as to which is now more than ever more just as important. We'll be hopefully be meeting and introducing with businesses in the town to further promote the use of the biking, such as for every time that you are seen biking to a certain place or business, getting a ticket, to which then will be used, and with permit allowed, will be used to a basket raffle and several other things at a promoted business. We did get permission from Walla Wines. We will be getting further, of course, in terms of any sort of permit further use we'll be using with Walla Wines as well for that. And unfortunately, that is all I have with me at this very moment, as unfortunately he is not here. But I will naturally, if there is any board questions that cannot be answered now, I will certainly, if I cannot answer any, make sure that Luke Wachensky is in contact to do so.
Well, I appreciate you giving us a heads up. Will, does any of the board have any questions at this early stage?
Yes, absolutely. It is 145 West Fillmore Avenue. You're very welcome.
All right, we look forward to hearing how it all unrolls.
All
Thanks,
right.
Will.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Nice to see you. All right. Any other speakers, communications? Closing that, department head report. Shane.
Couple things. Pat Shea graduated from the Erie County Police Academy on Friday and started his field training today. So that'll take probably the next 12 weeks and before he's on his own. But he did excellent in the academy. We received a lot of praises from his instructors, and looks like he's doing well going forward. I would like to remind everybody, and we're going to put something out on Facebook too. Warm weather, summer's here. So we've already seen an uptick in things stolen out of unlocked cars, including 2 cars that may or may not have had their keys, key fob in them, were taken. So if you can speak to whoever you do in the village, please keep pushing the idea that people should lock their cars up, especially overnight. Because things are getting stolen and cars are getting stolen now. So, and neither of the 2 cars that were taken were recovered yet. So we're not sure where they are. So.
Used to just be sunglasses and loose change. Now it's the whole
Well,
thing.
unfortunately, with technology and key fobs that you don't need a key, sometimes you forget to take it out of the car with you, and the little person is digging through the car and hits the button, and no, not you. And hits the button and the car starts. So that's only encouraging them to drive away with it. We're going to be doing more dedicated patrols, at least in the little area that we've had the issue so far, which appears to be the northeast corner of the village and town. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Shane. Matthew?
We will begin asphalt grinding probably on Thursday this week. We'll be grinding and paving South Grove, Lake Hill, Elmwood Avenue, and a section of Gerard from Fisher Price's driveway entrance to Pine Street, with an expected paving date last week in June.
Thanks, Matt. Liz?
A couple of things. I did email you all about the tree removal over on the Walnut Prospect Street lots with the subdivision. So all of the trees that have come down, all the trees that are coming down have come down. With the exception of the two large ones by the DI, they're going to reroute things a little bit closer to that west lot line to avoid those two large trees.
Oh, even the one with the X? Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're going to shift it closer to the Center Street neighbors there and connect in there. Doesn't mean that those trees will always be there or what their condition will be after excavation, because they will be digging through those through their roots, but they're going to avoid those two trees.
Just to give props, Bruce, one of the neighbors, a couple of the neighbors went out and started calling and saying, hey, there's an X on the tree. It looks like they're gonna take them out. And Steve hot-footed it down there, and then he
I
got Liz
chained
down
myself to
there,
the tree.
chained himself to the tree
You
for
weren't there when I
days
got
and
there.
nights. Yeah,
Tree.
but they talked it through and they ended up coming up with a way to hopefully try to preserve both trees instead of just coming in and clear cutting them. So nice job. both of you.
Well, they had only planned on
Good
taking the
jobs.
one as it was, but now they're just going to leave them both.
Those two
So,
big ones.
yep. So they will be beginning their excavation and installation of drainage, probably in the not too distant future. And there will be periodic inspections by my office when that begins as well. And they're already in discussion with potential buyers of those lots. So I'll just keep you updated as that goes along. And then the other thing was I had a random call from the from the village DPW about a potential hogweed on Oakwood Avenue. And so, I mean, that isn't my department, but I'm very curious about that. So I went down there and I took a look at it, and it wasn't hogweed. And I also called Mike Evans from the town highway, who's a village resident who has a lot of experience in this. And he looked at it and said, no, it's not hogweed, but he and I and his DEC contact all kind of rallied around the idea that this is poison. Oh, no.
I think the fact that it's poison is the important fact.
Yeah. And now I totally lost it, but it is another invasive
Poison oak.
species here in Western New York. It's becoming more prevalent. You can see examples of it on wnyprism.org. They have a list of species and invasive pests that you can keep an eye out and notify them when that happens. But Christine over at the DPW said that she was going to send the guys over to take a look at it. And then Mike Evans did come by, dig it out, bag it up, and it's currently baking in the sun behind the highway department over on Quaker. So it grows really fast. It's very distinctive. It's not something that is normally seen here. And when he dug it out, it was probably at about 3.5 feet tall. And it just grew this spring. It seeds really easily.
We've had
So,
hogweed on our property off and on. I've been killing it. It likes to be along water.
yeah,
So along the Buffalo Creek, we've had it, and I use Roundup to kill it because you don't want to touch it. Because you
right.
touch it, you get burned. If you get the oils on you when you get out in the sun, it blisters. It's terrible.
Right.
So you have to be real careful with, so I sprayed it, but we've had that for, I don't know, 8 years now, 9 years. We've got them once in a while along the creek bank.
Right.
It's
Yep.
terrible stuff.
Yep. And this one's not any better.
So what was this called?
I can't remember.
Something else to look out for, huh?
But
Yeah.
Prism's the group that came in
Yes.
for that other
Yeah.
invasive species that
Yes.
was moving up Cass Creek, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, the flower head on the
they sent out like 500 mailers.
the hogweed has got, and it's big, but it's got kind of like, almost like a Queen's Anne lacy kind of thing. It's kind of like a weird, flower stalk that comes off and
So the word to the wise is if there's, residents have questions on those plants, if they don't know what it is, they can certainly call our office. We can come by and take a look. The best advice is to not touch it unless you know what it is and what the proper way to remove it is, because some of those plants are extremely harmful. to humans, to animals, whether they're ingested or whether you just get the oils on your skin. So
The county
that
will
came
come
to
out.
our attention by a very observant resident who was just walking down the street and said, "Hey, I think that looks like hogweed." Wasn't hogweed, but it was close and it was just as bad. So
You
so
call
we
the county
appreciate
too.
their.
The county will come and take care of it as well.
Yeah, they'll take care of bigger stuff. I don't know if they'll take care of something on a small level like this. It was just a couple of plants there. So Mike took care of them for us. That's all I have.
Good. Do you mind, Luke, do you just want to shed any more light on the No Ride July that Will told us about?
First of all, at the town, we're going to teach you how to be less efficient, so your meetings go longer. Didn't expect you to be this quickly. So, no, but yeah, basically, Will and I and Jen Brazil from Borderland got this idea together based on my getting back my lease and not getting my new car yet for the month of April. And it was a learning experience for me. And then we challenged others to not take a vehicle within the village, from village to village locations. So I started talking to a couple of businesses, working with Will, and we're trying to put together a raffle at the end of July with Borderland tickets, bike parts, things like that, where we could put it together. Anyone who commits to not taking a vehicle from somewhere in the village borders to somewhere in the village borders can then get so many tickets to give in the raffles at the end of the July, with the hope that this encourages people to change their behavior. Like my behavior has hopefully changed, but now that I say that, now you're gonna see me in a car and I'm gonna feel bad about it. But so hopefully change behavior and have more mobility within the village, walking and biking. So what we would want from you, if you're willing to do that, would just be your support. As we do that, we'd like to have the end party at Wall Lines, but inside, so we won't need any permission or anything, but support, PR, whatever you may be able to do. I'm not saying you should force Shane out on a bike and take a picture of it and show the support of the village, but that I'd like to see.
Well, we could encourage some of the officers to use their bikes, right?
Only if you want to greatly increase response time. And that's all your decision.
So walking counts too, it's not just bicycling.
Yes, yeah, I think anywhere, so Tops, Co-op, up to Main Street, out for dinner, right? The rules of this game would be, you know, obviously if you go to the airport, you take your car, even if you're in the village, but from village to village to commit the entire month to do it without a vehicle. And I don't know what that means by support from you, but we thought we would come and talk to you
So
about
would it be no ride or no drive?
it. Well, I think no ride.
All right, but you're riding your bike.
Yeah, well.
It does make it
You
look
don't
not
ride
as
your
catchy,
bike, you ride your
yeah.
bike, but you drive your car.
Yeah.
But you ride in someone else's car and you can refuse to ride and say, no, I'm walking.
Ah, valid, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's why we're having these
Uh-huh.
discussions.
Girls were riders, so that's right.
Yeah. So I think it is a campaign for sure, but one that hopefully would encourage less use of vehicles. We all know we do it, right? When you have to go somewhere, you think it's quicker to get in a car and do it. And for me, it has been an experience where that's not the case. So
I also think too, our summer parking issue and some of the traffic is picking up already, so.
yeah,
You can see, especially the Elm Street corridor and all that.
Mhm.
That's it. I think
And the west end
savvy,
of Town, even with all those.
savvy village residents know that sometimes you get there quicker on foot
Oh,
or
for sure.
on a
Mhm.
bike instead of driving at certain times. So, yeah.
I think we'll get some T-shirts made up and then, you know, whatever you
So
can
how do
do.
people get these tickets for the raffle? I mean, what do they do to sort of prove that they're?
Yeah, I think so. We'll try to have a sign up and then somewhere where on a website where you can write sort of what you've learned throughout the month and how you do it. Like, hey, I went to so-and-so and it thought it was going to rain, but it really wasn't a big deal. Or, you know, what to do to your bike to make it more equipped to be able to go to a Tops or whatever it may be. But yeah, we'd like to put up a website and then obviously through social media, we'll see if we can get people signed up and word of mouth. And then we can
The
see
two
how it
bike
goes.
shops in town, are they on
Yes,
board with this?
yes.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think we're gonna have to get the word out also because some drivers aren't super practiced at watching for cyclists. Something I've noticed on a bike.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
good for people to know that, yeah, there's gonna be more of that out there, you know,
Yes, yeah.
keep your eyes peeled.
Those red octagonal signs, they do
Yeah.
something.
Shane, is there anything that, that the PD can do to, well, first of all, I don't know how active people are in registering bicycles. If people's cars are getting stolen, I mean, I think bikes probably are. So I was thinking about bike registration and or bike safety. Is there any kind of way? that
Well,
you
now
guys
that we
can
have
involve?
an SRO, again, we used to with
Okay.
past SROs, and we will forward with bike safety through the schools, through Park Hill in particular. We do register bikes. But people go through bikes so quickly that, 3 years or 2 years after registering a bike, we can find that bike left somewhere, and the contact information is no longer good to what we had. So it's not always.
Well, especially I'm thinking about e-bikes, they're so expensive and more, I'm seeing more and more.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have too many problems with $2,000 bikes left around.
Yeah, the guy I just bought one at Kickstand Culture, and he gave me a site where you can register your serial number on your bike, and then they can always pull that up for you.
So we can. Those are so expensive, I would recommend people keep that information readily available if they need this.
Get one of
But I
those
think some
little
of
dots
this
that you stick
information
on
could also be
it.
wrapped into this.
Yes,
campaign.
absolutely.
Sure.
Yep. I didn't even know you could register a bike, but mine is not a $2,000 bike, so, yeah. I can buy 10 of mine. It'll be okay.
It's not easy riding around the village sometimes. I do, and it's Main
Mm-hmm.
Street's always a challenge. Just trying to deal with the people. I had a lady open her door. They pulled up in front of Barville, no, in front of the Globe. And I'm coming down on the non-bike path, the orange, the red line, and I'm just riding along, and I'm like, oh, I think something's gonna happen because the car stops, door flies open, I hit the brakes, and it just.
Yep.
Or people, just the challenge,
Yeah, and I think that's part of it, is that everybody needs to learn what it's like to be in a community where there's a lot of bikers and walkers, and we know the challenges with that, and hopefully something doesn't happen, but yeah.
Just keep raising awareness.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Will. Kathy, thank you for your patience.
It's all right, Mayor. So what is it? What is it?
Poison hemlock.
Poison hemlock.
Aha.
Oh.
And
see
there
what
are
that looks
also apps that you can get on your phone that you take a picture of any plant, and it can most times readily identify it. So that also might be another resource for people if they see something that they don't know what it is. That's another possibility. There's some good apps out there for that.
Actually, Kathy, I just found this out. iPhone has it integrated into their camera system.
There you go, right there.
Fancy.
So ways to look at that. So I did attend a meeting of, and I can't remember the exact name of the coalition, but we were kind of contacted out of the blue. But it is a group that is actually working with the state. There were 2 state representatives at the meeting that I attended, having to do with trying to ensure that there is no smoking outside. And actually, we just very recently had amended our code to make it more official than it was in the past, even though we had signs. We didn't really have a lot of code language behind that, which of course is necessary. So it was just back late last year that we had amended the code. No smoking in Hamlin Park or any of our parks. And that of course smoking includes cigarettes and vaping and e-cigarettes. And of course, at this point, marijuana, cannabis. So I did attend that meeting with Alma and Marilla were there. Actually, our SRO was on the phone at the meeting, and it was the SRO for the Iroquois School District. And the state is supposed to be providing signs to potentially to the municipalities, which I thought that would save us some money. I think our signs, if you look at them in the park, there's so much stuff on them. I think you lose a lot there. So I think maybe if we had something just separate for the no smoking, and I did send something to the mayor, and I think you thought that was not a bad sign. And I shared this with a group too that I found online. It's like the 4 symbols with the circles with lines through it. It has symbols for the 4 things that I just mentioned. And then it says no smoking, no e-cigarettes, no vaping, and no marijuana. So that would be potentially a separate sign. The other thing I found out at the very end of the meeting is if you were proactive and already have an ordinance that the state was really looking to give signs to places that didn't already have anything, so we might not get something for free. But it's a work in progress. So I'll keep you posted on that. Obviously, we do want people to know that smoking is not allowed in Hamlin Park of any kind. And also in our other public areas like the Casanova Creek area and sinking ponds, we don't want any smoking in any of those public areas that people need to just enjoy without any kind of smoking whatsoever. So still working on that with that coalition. Then I did attend our PERMA conference, that is our workers' comp. That was a very interesting learning and training opportunity. And actually, I'm actually on the board of directors for that PERMA pool. And I was also just elected as secretary to our executive board. So I get a lot more information than other people would normally. And a lot of interesting updates and things about with changes that the state is making and all that. I won't get into the details, but that was a very good experience. We did just re-up our renewal with PERMA workers' comp. We actually did a 2-year commitment because we got even more of a discount for that. We got very favorable pricing for paying in advance and going for the 2 years and a number of other discounts that we got. So very favorable. And we do have all the reports that as far as I know, that the service that any potentially injured worker gets is very important. That's the most important thing, more probably more than the pricing. And my understanding is that does work out very well. And also we actually had a safety audit that was done. I did with and also went around to our facilities with one of the PERMA representatives. And I think I mentioned before, I'm going to continue to try to do some more with safety and proactive to make sure that we are always as safe as we can be and not have anybody be injured is our ultimate goal. But they can't always avoid that. But when somebody is injured, then of course you need the coverage. So did a lot with PERMA there. And then as far as our other insurances go, and I think I mentioned this last time, working with Vanner, our broker, they're looking at renewing all of our general insurance with Travelers. That comes up, I think I told you before, at the end of July. But another part of that, actually it's not part of our regular renewal, is our cybersecurity insurance. That is so much more important today than it has ever been to have good coverage as far as that goes. I have had Nick, our IT professional, review that policy in the past. Some policies, frankly, are not worth the paper that they're written on for what you pay. We pay a relatively small premium. Hopefully we never have to, again, it's insurance. You never ever want to use it. But the premiums are going up and a lot of carriers are getting out of the business of covering local governments because they don't think we're a good risk because of different things that have happened in the news down in Texas a while ago. There were a whole bunch of local governments a couple of years ago where had very bad experience with some very bad people getting into their computer systems. We obviously try to, again, have the very best prevention with our IT professional, Nick. But I think we're going to have a hard time finding any local government is getting decent cybersecurity insurance, and we'll probably have to pay even more. I think we started out paying for a good policy, maybe a $2,000 premium, and I think it went up to $4,000. So it's still not a lot of money, $4,000 for if you ever had to access it. But if it did double the premium, I do expect that premium to go up significantly again. I'll keep you posted on that. So it's a lot of work dealing with all that. And of course, you always want to keep your insurance updated. We're just doing that with our assets and all. You want to have current vehicle information. Of course, when you have new people come on, you want to make sure that we're making sure that they are able to be insured. So when we have our new employees come on, so it's just a lot of moving parts with our insurance that I've been working. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Can I ask a question? PERMA, what's that stand for?
Employer Risk Management Association.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Maureen?
Happy New Year. It's my new fiscal year. I'm super busy with all of that. Taxes went out, so everybody needs to pay their taxes by July 1st. Board, remember to pay your taxes by July 1st. And I did apply for a scholarship this week for my next training, which is the IAMC, to see if I get that.
Nice. Thank you. All right, Steve?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Molly?
Nothing this week.
Marcia?
Nothing for me.
Ernie?
No, thank
Grace,
Nothing.
we're killing it. Kristen,
6 for 6.
nice. Then I will not add anything. Except I couldn't make no mo May to the end. I just couldn't do it. I got about 4 days from the end and it was so high, my mower couldn't handle it anymore. I
I had to go through it twice. I
finally crashed.
couldn't get through it.
My dad had to come and do mine and
Oh, I saw
I had to make him
yours.
dessert, so.
Nice.
Yeah, I was worried somebody might have seen
I
mine,
think I
so.
used more gas mowing it the one time than I
That's crazy.
would have, though.
I was surprised Matt didn't make a comment. He did say it was difficult, very difficult for DPW after no mo May and getting everything. Do you want to make a comment, Matt? You, he has commented repeatedly to me in private in my office that it was a quite an expense and a lot of added work to get everything together after the fact.
We gave the bees a good head start this year, I think. Even with 3
Well,
weeks.
my wife didn't like the look of not mowing the lawn, so I compromised. I bought a packet of wildflower seed. And it's been growing great, so I'm gonna have pollinator flowers all over
Nice.
my garden. I took a corner of my vegetable garden. It's gonna be flowers. So that's my contribution.
Very good. I would like to ask for a motion to move into executive session to discuss negotiations.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Marcia, second. Second by Steve. For the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll go into executive session. We may be voting when we get out. Okay. Can I get a motion? I'm going to make a motion to approve a resolution for the Village of East Aurora to determine non-significance pursuant to the Seeker Act in the matter of the village purchasing 2 parcels of land, SBL numbers 164.15-1-3 and 164.15-4-20. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Do we have to do
Approved.
the roll on this or no?
Not
Just
for
lost.
seeker.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the resolution for the East Aurora Village Board of Trustees approving the purchase of the 2 properties, 2 vacant parcels of land, SBL numbers 164.15-1-3 and 164.15-4-20. I get a second?
Second.
Second is Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Oops.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Ah, good catch, Steve. All right, let's see, Kristen
Aye.
and Grace,
Aye.
Ernie,
Aye.
and Marcia,
Aye.
Molly,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so that passes. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So second.
Moved by Marcia, second by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
In case there's cameras,
Is
just walk out.
meeting is adjourned.
The door.